Hello all, this is Ann Adams with Coldwell Banker Realty. I wanted to jump on here and talk to you about Grove City, Ohio, specifically the historical portion of it. As I've lived here myself, I have been trying to learn more and more about my community, and I like sharing it with people. So I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the history and how it first got started. It was initially founded in 1852, even though the Eastern European settlers came here in the early 1800s. They There was a lot because of the trains and before automobiles. There was a lot of passengers and cargo that would come in and out of the city, and it was a good, happy medium place between Kentucky, with the local factories and farming and gas stations. Well, for the automobiles, gas stations came into play, but before that, those opportunities made it a little bit more accessible here because the railroad tracks had taken between Columbus to travel and to Kentucky to travel. So it became a common ground for early settlers to come here and settle. If you want to check out the existing historical buildings and sites that are still here in Grove City, Ohio, one of the places that you can check is called Century Village. It's on Orders Road. There's a lot of historical buildings on site, and they do host different events there where they kind of try to take you back in time and check out how it was to live there. There's an older school there that you have the opportunity to see how early students went to school compared to today, which is pretty cool. If you go down to Broadway, there is a museum center where you can go through and learn about a little bit more history about Grove City. There is also the Planks restaurant that used to actually be the original hotel saloon that was built in the early 1850s. They converted it to a restaurant pub area now. And they started those renovations like early 1980s, but it used to look similar to the way it is now, but a little bit less modern, I guess, if you will. So, but anyways, there's a lot of cool things in Grove City with the old historical charm. I love it. It's cool to check out. So, but over to the Grove City, Ohio's real estate market. So I usually come on here and I talk about statistics and I talk about numbers, and numbers speak to me more than really the news does, honestly. I do understand that interest rates are high. There is a lot to be said about dollars and inflation that speak to that. However, if you look at the numbers and you see what the market's really doing, it'll teach you something a little bit different. You can interpret whichever way that fits for you. But my interpretation of this is what I'm seeing is, if we look at June of this year, we had 118 houses on the market. During that time, houses were selling for a little bit over list price, but as it went into July, the number of homes on the market was 102 houses. So not as little as 118, but still less. The price that people were paying were a little bit higher than they were in June. So, but one thing to take into account is comparing it to last year. So last year in July of 2022, we had 105 houses on the market, and we know houses in July of last year were going a lot faster than they were in December. And December, people kind of halted and stopped because of the holidays, but they also halted and stopped because that's when the interest rates started upticking and people wanted to see if it was worth waiting and what interest rates were going to do. However, because there's a lot of job opportunity in Columbus, we are not getting hit by the housing crisis like some other cities in the United States are. We are still in high demand. There's still a need for housing. And the fact that there are less houses on the market now just means that when your house does go on the market, if you're marketed in correctly and there's a good strategy in place, you should be able to sell your house pretty quickly for a price that is favorable to yourself and both the buyer. So if you're interested in selling in the next 12 months, let's sit down and talk, because there's a lot more for me to talk about than I do in these short little videos. So if you're interested in selling, you need to have a good strategy in place, and I'd like to help you with that. If you're interested in buying and want to know the best way to compete in this market, and have data to back that, please reach out to me as well. My telephone number is 614-483-2315. Give me a call. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.